Hello friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start our video with a story in which OP, a seasoned mechanic, finds himself dealing with the ultimate workplace menace, the self-proclaimed king of the shop. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. The petty revenge of the shop gremlin. I've been a mechanic for years now, and if you've worked in a trade, you know how it is. Your coworkers can be great or they can be total a-holes. Most of the guys in my shop are good people. Some are cool to work with, some I don't really care for, and then there's Jay, the human equivalent of a rusty bolt that just won't budge. Meet Jay, the shop gremlin. Jay is a self-proclaimed king of the shop. He's been here longer than most, and he acts like that means he owns the place. He hoards tools like a dragon sits on gold, never puts anything away, ever. Thinks one of the bays is his personal kingdom, gets pissy when anyone challenges his imaginary throne. He's got his airline, his workbench, his tool cart. The rest of us just exist in his shop. I usually let his attitude roll off my back, but then he made it personal. The other day I was under a truck using one of the shop's 3/4 impact guns. We have several, but there's one good one. The rest, hot garbage. So when I get the chance to use the good one, I grab it. If it's in use, I deal with it and take one of the crappy ones. Anyway, I'm working away, set the gun down for 1 damn minute, and guess who waltzes by and just takes it? Did he ask? Nope. Me. Hey, I'm still using that. Jay keeps walking, doesn't even turn around. Well, I need it. Me. Yeah? And I'm using it. But he was already gone. No discussion, no compromise, just walked off like the shop revolved around him. So I waited. I kept working, all while watching him like a hawk. A few minutes later, he stepped away from his bay. The second he turned his back, I walked over, grabbed the gun, and went back to work like nothing happened. A few minutes later, he comes storming back. Jay, where the hell is my impact gun? Me, your impact gun? Jay, realizing what happened, turning red in the face. I was using that. Me, shrugging, completely deadpan. Well, I need it. He muttered some colorful words under his breath, but didn't try to grab it again, but I knew this wasn't over. The birth of petty revenge. I'd had enough of Jay and his shop tyrant nonsense. If he wanted to act like the shop belonged to him, fine. I'd just make sure his life was a little more inconvenient every single day. If he was using an air tool, I'd walk by and shut off the air valve when he wasn't looking. If he left an electric tool out, I'd take the battery off and set it just far enough away to make him search for it. If his ratchet had a socket on it, I'd loosen it just enough that it would fall off the second he lifted it. If he left his work gloves on his bench, I'd swap them with a pair 2 sizes smaller. When he left his coffee mug unattended, I'd rotate it just enough that he'd spill a little on himself when he picked it up. All of it was just enough to be annoying, not enough to be malicious or get me in trouble. A few weeks into my campaign of mild but effective sabotage, Jay started losing his mind. One day, I walked by his bay as he was about to use his air gun. He pulled the trigger, but nothing happened. I just shut the air valve seconds before. He ripped off his gloves, threw them on the bench, and shouted, "What the F is going on?" I bit my lip to keep from laughing. Another time, he was mid-job, reached for his power drill, no battery. He started patting down his workbench like a man who just lost his wallet. Jay, where the hell? I just had it. He turned around in a full circle before spotting the battery 6 inches from where he left it. And the best moment, the time he tried to use a ratchet only for the socket to fall off and roll under a truck. Jay, are you kidding me? I kept my face neutral. I was an innocent bystander. One morning he walked in, already pissed off. Jay, this effing shop is cursed. I swear every damn thing I touch is broken or missing. Me, innocently, weird. Maybe it's a ghost. He looked at me suspiciously, but he had no proof. And just like that, I became the invisible force of minor inconvenience in his life. He still hoards tools and acts like he runs the place, but at least now his reign of terror is a little less comfortable. And every time I hear him grumble, curse, or stomp around in frustration, I just smile and keep on working. 5-star job. But I would totally be messing with him in subtle ways as well, like moving his stuff to the opposite side of the bench, leaving them facing the opposite way, just enough movement so he begins to think he's losing his crap. And our second story. Not this time, Rebecca. Not this time. There's this woman who, for reasons that are not entirely clear, I've been a red flag for since I first met her when I was about 20 years old. I think it's just jealousy because I've never done anything wrong to her or anyone else. She said subtly mean things to me with a smile at every opportunity. Unfortunately, she's a friend of friends, so avoiding her wasn't always an option. Later in life, I would only see her every 4 to 5 years, but she couldn't help herself and was continuously mean. Every freaking time our paths crossed, she would say, "Oh, 7-star. Oh, you look a little tired today. Is everything okay?" Even though I wasn't looking tired, you get the gist. To that, I responded with either an eye roll or an, "Oh, come on, Rebecca," and then she acted like she was really worried and made a big fuss about me being rude to her. But not this time, Rebecca. This time I was prepared. On Christmas Eve, I went to the bar in my hometown where I usually met my old friends who all came back for Christmas too. I saw her early from far away in the room, and after a while, I felt her dark and filthy presence in my back, menacing towards me. Her face hovered high above me, around my left shoulder. She's about 30 centimeters taller than me. She smiled her fake smile down on me, and while I thought, man, the sunbathing was really taking its toll on her, it went like this. Rebecca, good evening, 7-star, how are you? Me, I'm fine, how are you? R, that's nice, but you look a little tired. Me, yet you look really good today, Rebecca. R, still kind of smiling. Oh, just today? Me, almost unrecognizable. So pretty. I said everything without any emotions on my face, only my mouth was moving, and I immediately turned around and walked away from her. But for a second, I still catch the disbelief on her face. I have won. After 24 years, I win. You did exactly the right thing. Nothing upsets people like her like showing her that she can't upset you. And our last story. HOA claims they own my house. Big mistake. I live in a non-HOA neighborhood, but there's a power-hungry HOA nearby that's been trying to absorb houses into their dictatorship for years. My street's mostly free from their clutches, with about 10 out of 14 houses staying out of it. So when I moved in, I thought I was safe from the HOA nonsense, but I was wrong. Within my first month in the house, I got a visit from the HOA Gestapo, 2 smug-looking people in business casual who knocked on my door like they owned the place. HOA Karen, because of course it was a Karen, smiled like a politician shaking hands at a rally. Karen, hello, welcome to the neighborhood. We're from the HOA and we wanted to talk to you about your membership. Me, I'm not part of an HOA. Karen, oh well, the previous owner used to contribute to HOA projects voluntarily, and we assume you'll continue to do the same. She said it was like some unwritten rule, like I had no choice in the matter. Me, yeah, no, not interested. Karen's smile flickered, but she regained her composure quickly. Karen, are you sure? Our HOA does a lot for property values, and it would be in your best interest to contribute. It's only a small monthly fee. Me, not interested. Karen narrowed her eyes. Karen, you might regret not joining. We have a lot of influence in this neighborhood. I just shrugged and closed the door in her face. Couple weeks later, Karen and her cronies came back. This time she brought some smug-looking dude holding a stack of paperwork. Karen, so we looked into it, and since your direct neighbor's part of our HOA, we've determined that eminent domain applies. You'll be considered a member going forward. Me, that's not how HOAs work. Karen, smiling like she just outsmarted me. Actually, our HOA bylaws state that we can expand jurisdiction over neighboring properties where at least one property is already a member. So you're now an HOA member, and we need your first dues payment within 30 days. Me, yeah, that's bullcrap. You can't just force me into an HOA. I grabbed the paperwork and skimmed through it. Nowhere in any legal document did it say I had to be a part of their HOA. Me, nice try. Get off my property. I thought that was the end of it. Nope. A week later, I get home to find a surveyor in my yard measuring things and taking notes. My girlfriend was home alone, and she'd already told him to leave. Me, what the hell are you doing? The The surveyor looked up, completely unfazed. Surveyor: I was hired by the HOA to check property lines. They're making sure your fence isn't on HOA land. Me: It's not HOA land. This is my property. The guy shrugs and says he's just doing his job, but I press him. Me: You have permission to check my neighbor's land, not mine. Leave. He grumbled but packed up his stuff and left. Turns out he did find that part of my neighbor's landscaping was actually on my property. I didn't care. I wasn't about to be a jerk over a couple of bushes, but the fact that the HOA was desperately trying to find something to nail me with, that pissed me off. A week after the surveyor incident, Karen came back, this time with a fake fine. Karen: You owe $250 in unpaid HOA dues and $150 in fines for improper backyard maintenance. Me: Improper backyard maintenance? My backyard's fenced. How would you even know? Karen smirked. Karen: We have ways of knowing. That set off alarm bells. They'd been in my yard. I checked my security cameras later, and sure enough, Karen and whatever HOA goons had opened my fence walked in and snooped around. I called the police and reported them for trespassing. The next time Karen showed up, it was to beg me to drop the charges. Karen: Look, we don't need to involve the police. Maybe we got off on the wrong foot. Me: No, you tried to scam me, trespassed on my property, and tried to fine me for nonsense. I think we got off on exactly the foot you deserved. Karen's smile vanished completely. Karen: If you drop the charges, we won't bother you again. I stared at her for a long moment. I already knew they didn't actually have any legal authority over me, but if this would get them out of my life for good, I was willing to consider it. Me: Fine, but if I see any HOA people on my property again, I'll call the police immediately. Karen: Understood. And just like that, she left. A few months later, I got the best news ever. The HOA had been trying to force another neighbor into the HOA as well, but unlike me, this guy had a lawyer in the family. He took them to court for harassment. And when it came out that they had tried the same shady tactics on multiple people, the judge ruled against them hard. And breaking into your yard? Oh, that's where I'd have lost it. The level of entitlement is insane. These people were so desperate to bully you into submission that they resorted to actual trespassing and fake fines, and then had the nerve to act shocked when you called the cops. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.